comrades, this is not what we fought for. We fought in order to liberate our people and not to cause violence on our people, not to intimidate our people. And anyone who tries to do so in the next elections and in future, we the war veterans are going to deal with that individual.
This is the profile of a soldier, a leader, a man that has been in the struggle for a long time. Dr. Dumiso Dabengwa is a political leader whose military and political leadership credentials are often a surprise to those who are new to him. Those who are close to the man often describe him as DD, the most disciplined and arguably the best trained soldier in Africa. A man of great wisdom, but a man of few words. Born in 1939, Dr. Dabengwa grew up in colonial Rhodesia, where the majority were oppressed, denied basic human rights, and treated as second-class citizens. The oppressive nature of the colonial system forced a teenage Dr. Dabengwa to make a lifetime decision to defend and fight for the rights of his people and liberate his country. A young Dr. Dabengwa was elected the leader of the youth wing in the African National Congress. He later led peaceful demonstrations and civil resistance in 1960, after which Dr. Dabengwa was arrested and imprisoned following the riots. The Zimbabwe People's Union ZAPU was formed while he was still in prison. When he was released from prison in 1963, Dr. Dabengwa retained his position as the leader of the youth wing, this time in ZAPU, which had been formed after the banning of the ANC and the NDP. When ZAPU resolved to pursue other methods of liberating Zimbabwe, Dr. Dabengwa left his country for military and intelligence training in the Soviet Union. He became one of the first Zimbabwe People's Revolutionary Army ZIPRA's commanders in charge of intelligence. In 1965, he was based in Zambia, where he became the head of the War Council. During this time, Dr. Dabengwa worked with the frontline state leaders, the likes of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda of Zambia and Julius Nyerere of Tanzania. For almost 2 decades leading up to Zimbabwe's independence, Dr. Dabengwa was one of the key Liberation War commanders. He recruited, trained, and deployed combatants from bases in Zambia into Rhodesia. At this time, until 1979, Dr. Dabengwa worked in close partnership and jointly with other SADC liberation leaders, the likes of Chris Hani, President Jacob Zuma, and former President Thabo Mbeki of South Africa, President Hifikepunye Pohamba of Namibia, President Armando Guebuza of Mozambique, and many others. He is respected in the SADC leadership circles by all who fought side by side with him and those who know his record. As the military leader, Dr. Dabengwa attended the 1979 Lancaster House talks in London. These are the talks that led to Zimbabwe's independence. During the Lancaster House Agreement talks, Dr. Dabengwa and former Zanla commander Josiah Tongogara, within the Patriotic Front, had the responsibility to lead all military programs, especially the demobilization of ZIPRA and Zanla combatants. He is a man to whom security sector reform comes naturally. When Zimbabwe attained independence in 1980, Dr. Dabengwa and other ZAPU leaders, the likes of the late Lookout Masuku, were arrested and detained by Robert Mugabe's ZANU PF government. Initially, he was charged with treason, but was acquitted due to lack of evidence. After being acquitted, he was detained again without trial or charge and spent 4 years at Chikurubi maximum security prison. He was only released after the Unity Accord was signed in 1987. After his release, Dr. Dabengwa decided to stay away from politics and from the army. Faced with the dilemma that the 1987 Unity Accord could not be fully implemented without Dr. Dabengwa, ZAPU founding president Dr. Joshua Nkomo spent almost a year trying to persuade Dr. Dabengwa to join the unity government. As a disciplined and principled man, Dr. Dabengwa finally obliged in the interest of Zimbabwe and joined the government. He, however, remained vocal and fearless in speaking out within meetings wherever he saw injustice. In the unity government, he became a member of parliament, and from 1990 to 2000, the Minister of Home Affairs. Zimbabweans assert that the only time when Zimbabwe has experienced countrywide law and order and peace was during Dr. Dabengwa's reign as the Minister of Home Affairs. In 2000, with a vision for a better Zimbabwe, Dr. Dabengwa tried and failed to persuade Mugabe to step down and not to contest the presidential elections. Dr. Dabengwa then decided to leave the unity government and started working on the withdrawal and revival of ZAPU. At the Congress that was held on the 16th of May in 2009, ZAPU resolved to officially terminate the 1987 Unity Accord with ZANU. On the 28th of August in 2010, Dr. Dabengwa was unanimously elected the new ZAPU president for a 5-year term. It is the hope of all Zimbabweans that Dr. Dabengwa will and might just be the next president of the Republic of Zimbabwe.
From Father Zimbabwe, Bantu Abami, Lalinani, Tererai, ZAPU, Izabusa, ZAPU, Ichatunga, Zimbabwe, ZAPU, Puza, Osisigele, Zimbabwe, Malupaganiswe,
ZAPU is ZAPU, and it can never be a project of any other party or anybody else. It has got its own objectives, which are very different from those of ZANU, and when ZAPU said it was pulling out of that unity accord, it meant every word of it. And there can never be another situation where ZAPU would go into an alliance like that one that we had. Even if at West we had elections that forced us to form a coalition government, I think ZAPU would have to consider that arrangement very seriously and ensure, if it had to accept that it had the upper hand in that coalition arrangement. But we have absolutely nothing in common with ZANU anymore, either than that we fought the liberation struggle together. They are a splinter party from ZAPU, and we do not forget and will not forget what caused them to split from ZAPU in 1963, when they were used by the colonial forces at that time to divide the people of Zimbabwe such that they would not be able to achieve what they wanted to achieve. We have started trying to ensure that in the next elections we preempt the issue of violence and intimidation. Comrades, this is not what we fought for. We fought in order to liberate our people and not to cause violence on our people, not to intimidate our people. And anyone who tries to do so in the next elections and in future, we the war veterans are going to deal with that individual. ZAPU will remain ZAPU, and this is why we decided to go back to what we were.
Izobusa mama, izobusa. Nabati ya ibulawe, izabu.